In December 2020, a group of thieves forced their way into a cargo hatch in the Russian city of Taganrog. They stripped the interior and made off with 39 electronic radio units, worth a total of about $13,600. The targeted aircraft is the classified Ilyushin Il-80, or Maxdome. Built as a flying fortress for the Russian president during a nuclear war, the windowless hump on its fuselage is engineered to protect electronics from the electromagnetic pulses and thermal flashes of an atomic detonation. We have a machine designed by state engineers to outlast the end of human civilization, yet it was successfully breached by a local burglary ring armed with hand tools. To understand this absurdity, we must look at the military doctrine of survivability. It is a multi-billion-dollar insurance policy meant to guarantee that a nation can always launch a retaliatory strike. The entire logic of modern deterrence relies on mutually assured destruction. If an adversary attacks, you must be able to hit back. To guarantee that ability, militaries split their weapons into a three-pronged strategy called the nuclear triad. The first leg of this triad lives in the ground. Intercontinental ballistic missiles, like the American Minuteman III, can reach their targets in less than 30 minutes, but they sit in fixed, concrete underground silos. An adversary knows exactly where they are. To solve that vulnerability, militaries put these massive rockets on wheels. Russia and China deploy mobile transporter erector launchers, or TELs, which constantly drive around vast deployment areas to shift their coordinates and avoid detection. This animated diagram illustrates how a single launched missile multiplies its threat. Using a technology called MIRVs, or Multiple Independently Targetable Reentry Vehicles, the main rocket ascends into space and then splits apart, releasing several distinct warheads that branch off to strike completely separate targets. Land-based systems force an adversary to waste precious warheads trying to dig out hidden or hardened silos, but because they are ultimately anchored to the Earth, they will always be susceptible to a highly accurate first strike. For true stealth, the triad relies on the ocean. Nuclear-powered ballistic missile submarines, like the American Ohio class, represent the most survivable leg of the deterrent force. These submarines dive deep into the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans, patrolling completely undetected for months at a time. A single vessel carries enough firepower to hold entire continents at risk, hiding beneath millions of square miles of water. The final leg takes to the sky. Militaries maintain airborne command and control planes, like the Russian Il-80 and the United States E-4B. These aircraft exist to ensure leadership survives, even if the capital city is wiped off the map. But for an airborne command center to actually survive a sudden nuclear first strike, it has to already be in the air when the missiles hit. Keeping a fleet of heavy bombers and command planes constantly airborne during a geopolitical crisis creates an agonizing logistical nightmare. Humans have pushed flight endurance to extreme limits. In 1958, pilots Robert Tim and John Cook kept a small Cessna airplane aloft over Nevada for 64 straight days. They managed this by flying low to the ground and hoisting up fuel hoses from a moving truck. Today, uncrewed solar-powered drones like the Zephyr can stay in the stratosphere for over 2 months without ever touching down. The military mimics these endurance extremes using mid-air refueling. By connecting stealth bombers to tanker planes high in the atmosphere, they effectively cheat gravity, keeping nuclear-armed aircraft on continuous alert without needing a runway. But this quest for perpetual motion faces a strict physical limit. Mechanical friction grinds down engine parts, crews suffer from extreme fatigue, and physics dictates that every machine must eventually land. Eventually, the bombers, the submarines, and the mobile launchers all have to return to the tarmac and the dry docks to power down for routine maintenance. This chart plots the design life of nuclear delivery systems against their current age, revealing a systemic crisis. The Minuteman III was designed to last 10 years. It is now over 50. Ohio-class submarines are being pushed to their structural limits at 42 years. To fix this, governments are locked in a frantic, multi-billion-dollar race to replace these decaying systems with next-generation platforms, like the new Columbia-class submarines and the B-21 Raider stealth bomber. Which brings us back to the thieves in Taganrog. They didn't have to defeat a multi-billion-dollar anti-flash nuclear shield. They simply waited for the aircraft to enter a mundane terrestrial maintenance window. The greatest immediate threat to the global nuclear deterrent isn't an enemy missile. It is the unstoppable decay of time. Even the apocalypse requires some routine maintenance.